I just want to greet you all in behalf of the village. So Carquinez Village, we are a virtual village in Benicia and Vallejo that allow our seniors to stay in place, stay in their homes, and with the help of volunteer services and that help both in transportation and in social services that create things as you have here, the speaker series. We support our seniors in all ways that we can. So when we look for people in our speaker series, we try to get subjects that we think will be valuable or appeal to them. So that is why we have invited Bill Essert to speak to us today. He's a certified aging in place specialist, and he works with occupational therapists and other professionals to make sure that seniors and their families get the best support services they need. He started Bay Area Grab Bar, BGB, born out of his desire to create safe and artful living spaces for seniors seeking to enjoy security and independence at home. This started to help his mother out to redesign her home. And then that led on to professional pursuits to create designed, aesthetically pleasing, safety-related installations for all of us seniors. Mr. Essert also pursues other careers as a professional trumpet player, a home preservation specialist, and a hospice volunteer. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Bill, and we look forward to your information.
Oh, God. Okie dokie. If you weren't awake, you are now. Thank you very much. And a rousing round of applause. We'll give them at the beginning because at the end, we'll all be ready for grab bars. No, I am so happy to be here. And thank you, Linda, for the wonderful introduction. My name is Bill Essert, and I'm with Bay Grab Bar. I leave the area out because it's just one too many word. So I'm really stoked to be here with you all and to share with you what I do, but more about how I can help and yourselves or your loved ones or other people in the community in Benicia and Vallejo, and how you can help yourself too. So there's some tips along the road for those of you that are here. Some things you may have heard before, but others you may not have. So I'm going to start out with just a little story. Linda alluded to it, that my mom was really quite inspirational in me starting this business, but I'll give you a little visual here. This is my flyer. I hand out a lot of times, and that's Mary, my mom, on the left, and Bob on the right. I think you can see that okay. And they actually live in Arkansas, a little town called Conway, where my mom grew up. My mom and dad moved back there when my grandmother turned 95, and they returned to help my grandmother age in place in their home, which they did a remarkable job with. And now they're in their 90s and doing great, living in their home. I was there visiting 2 years. That would be 2 years BC for those of you that are using the new before COVID annotation. So 2 BC. And it was I was there on a social visit primarily, and while I was there, we were going to go out on a Friday afternoon for a little outing. So we went out the back door. Oh, and I might mention my mom's an amputee. You can't really tell from this picture unless you look carefully, but her dominant arm she lost to the big C, but she still has her left arm. And when my mom and dad leave the home, they hold hands. So that's what's going on here. They're walking down the sidewalk. So they're on this particular Friday, we were on our way out the back door to a little breezeway, which heads to the garage. And my dad decides to spin off and check the mail or the garbage can before we leave the home. And while he did that, my mom took it upon herself, unbeknownst to me, I'm literally 5 or 6 feet behind her, to step towards the garage, open the garage door, and then there's 2 steps that go down into the garage where the car is parked. Well, needless to say, she didn't do a good job managing those stairs, and bam, no, without the arm, no way to stop herself. It was quite a concussion. She's okay, thank God. But during that my 1 week vacation, it ended up being a 1 month vacation. And while I was there helping them with hospitalization and emergency room and rehab, I was also dusted off my contractor. I was a retired, I didn't mention that, I was a retired contractor. So I dusted off my dad's tools and went to work installing ramps, grab bars and railings. So when my mom did return from rehab, that she would be able to enter her home and continue to live in their home, which has been successful, as I mentioned. But I came back to California, and the first thing I did was signed up for Aging in Place certification program in San Diego, and I attended classes and mentored with a colleague of mine down in Southern California, dusted off my contractor's license, and got the necessary insurance and put out my shingle for Bay Grab Bar. And that's what I've been doing since for the last few years, helping people so that they can stay in their homes, living independently and safely. That's kind of everybody in this room has a story, either a parent or a friend or yourself. And pretty much everybody in the world that I work within, the OTs, the PTs, the doctors, they all have personal stories too. But I like to share mine because it's really pertinent to where we are all at in one way or another. So with that introduction, I'm going to go ahead and share a screen, and I've got a little some pictures to show you, and some tips that hopefully will be helpful to you and the rest of the audience. So give me a second while I do a little bit of technology here, and hopefully we do get everything going here. And okay, Susan or Linda, can you give me a thumbs up if that screen is correct? I see, yes, I see the thumbs up. Okay, thank you. So I've got this one thing in my way. Let's see if I can get that out of the way. Maybe that's a little better. Okay, so there's different ways to achieve safety in the home, and those different ways are helpful in some different ways for different people. Some people want to be stylish, some people merely want to be comfortable, and some people just want to live. And we address all those in this subject matter today. And you'll see different products along the way. Here in the middle, you'll see a railing on that deck that's made out of aluminum. And on the right, that's a railing system, and those are wrought iron. So here again, just juxtaposing the functional and the beautiful. Uh-oh, we somehow skipped way ahead. That was bad technology. Okay, we're just going back. Now you get to see the whole program. That's nice. Let me see if I can, that's the very end. Okay, we're gonna rewind. Zip, 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 zip. Okay, that was fun, wasn't it? Okay, slideshow. Slideshow. Yeah. Okay, now we'll try that again. I'll try doing it with the keys. Sometimes, there we go. Thank you for your patience. As a musician, yes, I have worked in the studio quite a bit. So those sounds were rewinding sounds of the old magnetic tape when you take the wheels and go backwards. Okay, so functional and beautiful. On the left, I have a retired gym teacher, client of mine in Vallejo. Some of you may recognize him. And that's his home where we installed some bars to help him get on and his wife get on and off the toilet. That's very functional. And then on the right, we have a very stylish shower. And this is showing off some other safety equipment, whether it is a snazzy doodle handheld shower, as well as some designer grab bars that were special ordered for this project. So sometimes the designer approach is very important for people. My MO is really whatever it takes to get safety into the house, because the safety is the most important element. So if someone really wants to dress it up, we'll dress it up. But you know, the majority of the clients that I work with and people really are looking at the functional aspect. Okay. So this is just giving you a little idea of what we do. We identify solutions to your needs. I recommend, and that's really true. So much of what I do is recommendations, and realizing the homes that I'm working in belong to the homeowners. So everything I give is a recommendation. It's not a doctor's order. Sometimes doctors will order me to do things, and we do that through modifications. Earlier, I think Linda had mentioned I'm CAP certified, which stands for Certified Aging in Place. And that's a certificate that gives me a leg up on just a handyman or a contractor, because I really have studied this arena and I have experience in this. And it was sponsored through National Home Builders Association and AARP. So a lot of times we will start working with a customer on trying to identify what's right for you. As we already talked about, is it style? Is it functionality? Is it something temporary? Maybe you have a son, you are a son or daughter of my client, and your parent or and you are staying in the home of your son or daughter, and they just want a temporary adaptation. So we have ways to do that. And then a lot of times it's not just for the customer, but it's for their visitors, for other seniors or other people that do need some extra help. And you want to be able to make it comfortable and safe for them to visit your home. And those are some of the sorts of directions we'll work with. And another kind of tidbit is we're all changing. We're getting older. I'm getting older. And what I could do yesterday is different than what I can do today. And part of my job is to be sensitive to that and help my customers realize that. So maybe we do a phase 1 this week. And that might include some grab bars in the shower. But maybe in 6 months or a year or 2 years, we'll be back to put in a ramp, or maybe some additional grab bars, or whatever the modification is. If by chance, I'm kind of bouncing around here a little bit with this presentation, but if by chance you are getting ready to do a remodel or building a new home, I doubt many of us are doing that in the current environment in California. But some of the tips that I've learned really is to plan for the future by putting in blocking. You can see in the picture on the left, there's blocking for future grab bars. If you were doing a bathroom remodel around the toilet area and or around the shower or bath. And the picture on the right is really showing how you can do the same thing for a future elevator. If you lived in a home, a multi-story home, and you were doing a remodel and you're thinking about the future, one good thing to think about is stacking closets. And that way you abandon the closet down the road and can put an elevator in that, and it becomes an elevator shaft. And those are just some little tidbits for those of you that are knowing people that might be remodeling. When we talk about blocking, that's the wood that goes behind the wall. They often will help be in place so they can support grab bars and railings within the bathroom area. And just going from left to right, just to highlight some of the products here that are kind of unique. The one on the very far left is a horizontally mounted grab bar in the toilet area. And that bar is made by Moen. And 99% of the time we install bars that have a peened finish. In other words, it's kind of like a textured finish. It's like sandblasted. So it has a better gripping quality in the shower area. But sometimes we'll even use it in the toileting area. But it's the same word that's like for ball peen hammer. I think about that when I describe that. It's just very small little dimples in the metal that make it less slippery. Still on the left-hand tile there, there's a toilet paper holder, which is also a grab bar. And I refer to that as a 2-for-1. So it holds the toilet paper, but it's also a grab bar. And often with clients, that's another way to get safe, is by offering another application, whether it's a towel bar that can be a grab bar, or a toilet paper holder that can also be a grab bar. And they're rated as grab bars, and they're installed structurally as grab bars. So they're much better than just a regular toilet paper holder or a regular towel bar. Hope that makes sense. We'll talk about that a little more. The center picture is a typical application in a medium-sized shower with tile. And we do install on tile as well as granite, corian, fiberglass, sheetrock. The different materials that we install into take slightly different techniques. And that's part of also my training and my staff, is to be able to do that. Oopsie dudes. That was I guess that's it. And the last picture is just highlighting a different finish. In this case, these are designer bars. They're kind of fancy, and they have an old world bronze finish. Sometimes we do that. Okay. This screen is very jumpy today. I'm so sorry. Bear with me. This is just so in addition to doing grab bars, which we've talked about, and inside the house, we also work outside, because you got to get into the house and out of the house. Just like with my mom, when she came back from rehab, she needed to be able to get onto the main level of their 1-story house. And there were 2 stairs in the garage. Here in the big picture, it's showing a front entry. This customer has Parkinson's, and having the railings was instrumental in her being able to get in and out of the house and get to the car. And those railings are made, those are custom railings made of wrought iron, and then they were painted to match the finish of the trim, of the window trim and so forth. The small tile, I hope you can see that on the left, is a railing that goes down a winding staircase with lots of angles and turns, and over a window section you can see. And that is actually made out of aluminum, but it has a wood veneer on it, so it matches the interior. This picture was taken before the painter came back and did stained them, but you can still get the idea. And then the other pictures, I think, are self-explanatory. They're also wrought iron. Sometimes we'll work in the back door area, patio, as you can see on the far right, front door area, and then the garage area where there might be a step. Those are so. Boomers acknowledge the benefits of many features that allow them to stay in their home in later years. Okay, so this is just pointing out some of those points. keeping the bedroom on the main floor. I think most of us know that if it's possible. It's not always possible in our hill homes, but we do what we can to live on the main floor. Today, non-slip floors are very, very available, whether they're ceramic or even wooden ones with a non-slip finish. Switches that are easy to handle, and then very importantly, particularly with those with severe arthritis, is using a lever handle rather than one that you have to grab around. That's really hard with severe arthritis, but by grabbing it or using your elbow, we can use a lever handle. Less than a third have thought seriously about the needs they will experience in their home and community in retirement and later years. Well, what that's pointing to is something that I encounter all the time, is that it really creeps up on us. And I commend everybody here listening to me ramble about safety, because you're way ahead of the curve. I would say 75% of my customers come to me after the fall, after they've had a bad fall or an incident that triggers the call. It's only 25% of my customers that will call me in preparation. So I think by being here on the call, on this Zoom call, that is, we're all here thinking about the future. Just a few more hints here. Eliminating the ability to get in the house, keeping your rooms nice and tidy. Open floor plans are very helpful without a lot of clutter. And then these bars, I can highlight the bar on the far right. That's featuring a towel bar that's also a grab bar. I will tell you, it's quite common for me to go into a home and find the towel bar ripped out of the wall. And I think that's what happened in this case too. And so that's like a real cue. Someone needs some help in that area. So we install a bar, but we still retain the ability to keep your towel there. So when you get out of the tub, you have access to your towel. And that picture on the right, if you look carefully, is a fiberglass enclosure. I mentioned earlier that we work in all sorts of different materials. But in a fiberglass material, there are additional challenges structurally as a contractor that we contend with. For those of you that are curious about how we do what we do, happy to explain that in the Q&A. But I will just point out fiberglass enclosures take additional hardware because we need to tie into the structure, and there's a large space between the fiberglass and the structure of the studs of the house. So we can talk more about that if someone's curious. I'm just going to do a little time check here. We're coming up on the hour. Another hint is keeping wide open floor plans I mentioned before, and this is just highlighting that in this picture. Universal design is a design of products and environments to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible. And that's so much of what we do at Bay Grab Bar. Once again, a close-up of the 2-for-1 toilet holder. And you've seen some of these other pictures. The one on the far right I'd like to highlight for you is a garage entry. And this is featuring a piece called a jam rail that we install to help people in it. In this case, it's a single step into a garage, and it doesn't have a post. I don't know if you noticed that. It's actually connected to the jamb of the door. So it's a real clean look, super safe. It's white, it's powder coated. And going down that step might have been very scary, but with this rail on both sides, it enables you to go up or down that step safely. Some other highlights that people plan for the future with the universal design. You can see how the washer dryer can work for both a senior as well as a young person. Good cue. My granddaughter walks in right on cue.
She just needs a kiss because she hurt her throat.
Oh. Hi there. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. You're going to be okay. You're gonna be okay. This is Elsie. So I'm gonna get back to work.
I'll leave you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
She
Thank
just
you,
wanted to see
Priscilla.
Papa, that's all.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was a treat for me. Um, and you can see in the two right pictures how the computer area can work with the wheelchair as well as with a chair, or works well enough for the child as well. Okay, wow. I have to take a breath after that one. That was just very emotional for me. Okay. Real obvious things here, but I like to point them out because they're not obvious all the time when you're not thinking about it like I do all the time. A zero step entry. In other words, there's no stairs to get into the front door. That's pretty unique in the Bay Area, but very helpful. On the interior, keeping the transitions between the bathroom and the master bedroom without thresholds. So if you do have a walker, you're not bumping over it, or a wheelchair, or catching your toe on it. And then the bottom right, that's kind of a no-no. It's a bad picture. It's showing a bathtub that's really hard to step over. So just wanted to see if you caught that. Keeping your wall switches at a lower level so you can reach them if you were on a wheelchair, as well as if you're a small person. And outlets up higher. So if you are on a wheelchair, you don't have to get down on your knees, which probably it's not going to work. We're seeing more and more appliances kind of at that primary zone between your waist and your elbow. You can see that with the microwave. I really appreciate that in my house, and makes a big difference. Also keying back on lever handles and the use of handheld showers, which allows you to sit and shower, which is much safer than standing and showering. And we install a lot of handheld shower units as well. Different kinds of electrical switches. I don't get too involved in the electrical retrofits, but I'm just pointing these sorts of things out for good community information. We talked about open floor plans, but you can see this kitchen really does make it easy to get around if you're planning a remodel, is to keep that space wide and open and uncluttered. And then something I don't think you see very often, I don't see very often, are vanities where you can run a wheelchair underneath. But it's instrumental in being able to survive in your home if at some point in time you are in a wheelchair or your loved one is in a wheelchair. Okay. Other little hints along the way. This is obviously not a Bay Area picture with the snow, but it still pertains. Having a porch cover so that you can get in the house without, in our case, rain, which we're praying for. Sufficient light is instrumental throughout the house, as well as indoors and outdoors. Once again, lever handles we've talked about, zero step entry, and keeping a very modest slope to get to the patio. Crank windows, much easier than pushing up and down. And having a towel bar that's also a handrail in the kitchen can be a nice way to do a 2-for-1. So it's a towel bar as well as a grab bar to help with balance. Here more about lighting, open floor plan, space maneuver, outlets, all in review. So I'm going to just jump ahead here. For the audience, what changes do you want it to have take place today? What have you been thinking about? And maybe this comes up in our Q&A here in a minute. Are you going to be doing some remodeling? At Bay Grab Bar, we don't really get involved in that. I may be able to help refer you, but often it's driven by budget, and who's really going to benefit from that? Is that going to be yourself or a parent or somebody else in your home? I think this is just blowing my horn here a little bit. reviewing that. And then if you want other resources on my website, which is baygrabbar.com, one big word, just like it sounds, bay, BAYGRABBAR.com. There's a resource sections for lots of different things, as well as those of you that might be low income. In some communities, there are access to free or inexpensive installations. And also on the website, there's lots of testimonials and stuff. We won't go through that. And just to wrap up, to point out some of the grab bars, the railings, the handheld showers, and I think at this point, I'm going to hand the ball back to Linda to facilitate Q&A. I will be probably most of the A of the Q, but I'll let her manage the folks in the audience that have questions. You can either put them in the chat, or I'm guessing Linda will just solicit verbal questions, because we're not really a big group here. Love to hear what you have to say and how I can help.
Okay, you want to take your share screen off so that we see all of the participants? Here we go. I don't know whether Susan is back on or not.
I'm here.
Yep.
Oh, there she is. Okay. I'll let you handle if there are any questions in chat, Susan.
There is a thank you in chat from Brenda Turner Adams. I don't know if she had to leave early, and that was why she was saying thank you. But let's open it up to questions. What questions do people have for Bill? Just raise your hand and we'll call you. Donna, you can unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh God, I sound like that commercial. So I live in a mobile home, and I'm very interested in getting a support bar at the toilet area. And I like that multi bar that does two things. And I wondered what that would entail, because I know it would have to have reinforced wood there, and to support my weight. So that's my
So
question.
mobile homes, yeah, mobile homes are a special case scenario. Each and every one of them is different, and they come made from a factory. So the way they're built is very different than standard construction that anybody is familiar with. So I usually have to evaluate it pretty carefully, and it could be there are still structures, but we tie into the structure. It may be the addition of a panel on the face that the grab bar is attached to, and then the panel is attached to the studs. That's the worst case scenario. And a lot of times it's what's behind that area. Is it a closet? Is there access from the wall behind it? So that's kind of gets into the how. And we can often, and I didn't mention this before, the way we work, we start with a virtual assessment, and it's free. There's no obligation. So as long as you can, run an iPhone or do a Zoom call, which you've all been evidently can do, I can visit you in your home at no cost and take a look at these things in particular. So if you'd like to set up an appointment, we can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So what other questions people have? Comments? Gail, you can unmute yourself.
So just to go with Donna's question, what is the additional support that's needed in just a regular home that's not a mobile home, if you're not doing a remodel? To attach the bars?
So it really depends what we're attaching, but most typically we can find the structure of the home. In other words, find the stud that we need to. And if we can't find the stud, we have other ways to anchor the grab bar that are rated at each fastener that we use is rated at 264 pounds, and we often will use multiple fasteners. So it's usually 4. So if you do the math, that gets pretty close to 1,000 pounds in as far as the rating for the fasteners. So there's very few locations where we cannot install a safety device.
Okay, thank you.
And once again, it just like with Donna's question, it usually starts with that virtual assessment, and we can talk about the specifics during that call.
Thank you.
Now, while we're waiting for questions to bubble, I will give you a little factoid. People are wondering about my trumpet, right? Since that's what this presentation was all about. So this trumpet is made in Japan. It's a Yamaha trumpet. I have been playing trumpet since I was in 4th grade. I played in the symphonies here in California and other pretty places around the world as my first career. And my wife, who you met briefly there, she's a flutist. So, and you'll even hear me on the backgrounds of commercials and some movies, television shows perhaps. So back in the day, I recorded at Lucas over in Marin quite a bit. And but that's not what this is about. I was just filling time while you guys were coming up with your questions.
Helen has a question.
Yes, when I had a hip replacement, and so it was temporary that I needed to have the grab bars. I got those ones that you kind of stick on in the shower. Are they no good, or is that something that you shouldn't have? Because then I could just take it away when I finished. I don't need it now.
Yeah, I can't believe they even sell those things because they are dangerous. I don't know if you noticed this problem, but I know my mother did. Before I got out there and saw that she was doing it, she had a stick-on one, but they say you're supposed to, check it every time before you use it, but nobody does that. And so the suction does release over time. And can you imagine grabbing onto that bar and be putting your weight on it, and then you're counting on the balance and it's not there. So yeah, I take them out all the time. And I think perhaps the only place they would have a use is if you're traveling and you don't have access to an adapted hotel room. So you'd have something, but do definitely check it before you use it. There's a little like colored dot on it that's supposed to show that it's got suction.
Yeah, I mean, it had such suction, I could hardly get the thing off. It took a long time to get it off. They said do a credit card and slip it under there, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah, well, it works perfectly until it doesn't work. You're right.
Yeah, but it was only temporary, so it wasn't like it was a permanent thing. Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Who else? So I guess I always have questions. So Bill, you talked about how the process starts. That for your company, that you would do a virtual kind of walkthrough of what the issue is the person's trying to resolve. And then do you actually, so talk more about what the process looks like. So do you have your own team?
Sure. It usually starts out with a phone call. Someone dials my phone because we're still kind of in that realm, and I like picking up phone calls. And next thing is to set up an appointment for an assessment. And the assessment usually takes 15 to 30 minutes. And like I said, that's no obligation, no cost. Hopefully you learn something new. And if at the end of that call, you've got pricing, we talk about it verbally, as well as have an idea of pretty clear idea of what we're doing. And at the end of the call, it's like, well, do you want to set an appointment for us to come out and do it? And or not. And if they say yes, then we set an appointment to schedule a time in your home. And on that face-to-face meeting, we review the locations, put a little blue tape where the bars are going to go, basically get your approval. And that takes maybe 20, 30 minutes, depending how many bathrooms we're looking at. And then we go into the installation mode, go out to the truck. We usually have since we've already talked, we know what we needed to bring. We have those in the van and install them. and payment is upon completion, and we leave the home safer than it was when we got there. And I think the huge testimonials we get, or the number of them, is just warms my heart, and goes back to my mom's story that I'm able to help people stay in their home.
Yeah, so you might turn the light.
Alan's got a question over there. Alan, I see your hand in the dark.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Basically, probably the major thing most people have a problem with is steps, and the recommendations as to step climbers, you know, you sit on, or putting in a second rail on the other side of the set of steps, so you can have two rails at the same time. Any comments about that?
Sure. First of all, disclosure, I don't do stair climbers or chair, what are they called? Chair stairs. But I have colleagues that can help with that. And people really pretty much know whether they need one or the other. Well, are you capable now to work with railings? And does it seem like that's the right thing? People have a sense about that. Or is a chair lift, that's what's called, really required? So in regards to the stair railings, having them on both sides is an ADA recommendation. And the reasoning behind that, and I totally agree with it, is we're all dominant handed, you know. For my sake, I'm right-handed. So when I'm going up the stairs, I want to have that hand, I want to grab it with my right hand. That's what I will always use my right hand on a railing. And then vice versa, when I turn around, I want to go down the stairs, I want to use my right hand. So what does that mean? You have to have two railings. And some people will actually use two hands. And that's just fine too. But that's kind of the logic behind two railings. Doing one railing might be safe, but doing two railings is going to be safer.
Alice?
Yeah, this is more out of curiosity than need, but I wonder if people who might be wheelchair bound dealing with refrigerators. You know, I was thinking I have enough trouble finding stuff in my fridge standing up. You know, are there any, do people have like bars on refrigerators or the kind of things where they could pull themselves up, or, you know, just to deal with shelves and depth? And yeah, I know it sounds like a bizarre question, but it just occurred to me that if you were limited in your mobility, that might be a problem.
I don't have a firsthand experience with that question, but I will tell you that there are all sorts of refrigerators out there now that you might not be aware of. Those that are located below counter height, so that are only half height. That would be my best guess if I was going to design a home for my parents, is to utilize that sort of technology. I don't think if someone's in a wheelchair, they're probably not going to stand up to get to the upper shelves. And you know, as far as if someone did need some extra balance around the refrigerator, and I have done situations like that with Parkinson's patients where they just need to have grab bars everywhere. I mean, not literally everywhere, but everywhere that they can be. We usually find a place, maybe it's on the wall right by the refrigerator. There are even bars that float in the middle of the room. I didn't show pictures of them, but they're on my website. They're called transfer poles, and they clamp between the ceiling and the floor. You've probably seen them in hospitals or rehab places, and those are super useful in areas like that, where you can't really attach a grab bar to a wall or to a
Cabinet.
piece of cabinetry, right?
Okay, thank you. I was just trying to picture it. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
So Donna, I see that you got your video working. Did you have a question?
I don't know if she's.
You're muted. Let me unmute you. Hang on. Let's see. I know that you worked really hard to get here, so let me unmute you. I guess, let's see, can I do this? I'll try it again. That's the problem with muting people, that they have to unmute themselves.
I think it's on the tile, Susan. I'm not positive.
Yeah,
but
I'm
if you
trying
look
to.
at it,
Yeah.
on her tile,
Yeah.
the three dots.
Okay, let me try that.
Try the bottom of your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, what
It's
it
time for
says.
another trumpet commercial. What shall it be?
So Donna, can you unmute yourself? Look for the little microphone and just hit that, Donna. Yeah, what allows you to do is it allows you to ask them to unmute.
Oh,
All right, Donna. There's a chat function. You could type in that if you have a question.
oh, there she
Oh,
goes.
there you are. Okay, Donna, you got it. Did you have a question? No kidding.
No sound.
No sound. We can't hear you. Sorry. You might have volume on your computer turned down.
Okay. And for our next contestant, we have. So while we're waiting for the next question, I'll tell another story about Oktoberfest. So Oktoberfest is coming up, but for those of you that know, Oktoberfest happens in September. So I will be playing up at Squaw Valley on, I think it's the weekend of the 18th and 19th of September. If you're looking for a road trip and some fun, some beer, maybe some German sausage and some great music right at the Squaw Valley Village. So I got a little musical plug in there. How's that?
There you go. There you go. So I have another question. So when we remodeled our bathroom, we tried to find things that were like those 2-in-1 kind of things. We couldn't find them in commercial places where they sold those things. Are there specialty vendors that sell those only to aging in place contractors or what?
Yeah, well, let me start out by saying that grab bars are the new seat belts. Think about that for a second. Grab bars are the new seat belts. I mean, in 68, 69, I'm trying to remember when we first started seeing seat belts. Maybe it was 65. Well, nobody used them. They just kind of like stayed tucked away. Well, grab bars are kind of coming out of the closet now too, just like seatbelts. And seatbelts are very, very much in vogue now. Everybody puts them on. There's no question. I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't wear a seatbelt. And that's the way grab bars will be, in my guesstimation. So why can't you find them? They're just getting kind of like the seatbelts in the early days. It's just hard to find, but they are out there. So, and there are specialty vendors, to answer your question. There's one of my colleagues in San Francisco, Aya Places, AYAPLACES, Aya Places. They're a marketplace for specialty items, and certainly feel free to give me a call or send me an email or text me, whatever, and I can help point you in the right directions. I don't sell over the table, but I am a Moen dealer, and I'm happy to help any way I can.
And one of the things that we were told by our contractor was that it would crack the tile to put it around in your bathroom.
It would, if you tried to do it, probably would crack the tile. So the other question is, well, how do you do it, Bill? So we use the woman's best friend, and I'm not talking about the husband. I am talking about diamonds. Diamonds are forever. So we use diamonds for grab bars as well. And that's really we use a core bit. It's like a hollow bit. If you were to, let's see, do I have, this is not a diamond bit. This is the end of my Apple Pencil, but it's like it's hollow, right? And it's round. And so the edge is actually covered with industrial diamonds, and it spins around. And it's not just diamonds. The other trick is water. So in conjunction with diamonds and water, we're able to drill into any material without cracking it.
So really their advice is more like they didn't want to take the chance because they didn't really know what they're doing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, why take a risk? So, yeah, it's too bad. No, it's a technique that not everybody knows. I mean, I'm sure you could find it on YouTube, but or you can call me and ask me. I'm happy to help.
All right. You one of the things you mentioned too, do we have any more questions? I don't want to monopolize. One of the things you mentioned that sometimes you could do things temporarily, but we heard you're not supposed to use the suction bars. So what kinds of things can you do temporarily?
Well, like a temporary ramp. I install temporary ramps all the time, and you're familiar with seeing them. They're the aluminum ramps that are you might see in the front or backyards of a home, and those are temporary. We assemble them on site. They're screwed in very gently, removable, and you can have your house back without a ramp. That's an example of a temporary solution. The use of the transfer pole. If you don't, say for instance, you have someone stay in your home for a short term and you're really concerned about their safety, but you don't want me to drill any holes with my diamonds into your walls. So you tell me that and I say, oh, well, we'll use a transfer pole then and use that temporarily. It clamps between the ceiling and the floor. When the parties leave, you can remove it easily and put it back in the garage until they come again, almost like a pack and play. You know, it's not quite that easy, but it's pretty easy.
And what about stair rails? You showed one that clipped into the door hinges. Is that something that can be removed and taken out again? I think you saw it. It was that really kind of pretty one that was curved. I think you said it went into the hinge.
Don't remember the picture we're talking about, but stairwell handrails, they're all sorts of types and shapes. And typically I will start out with what's there because with my architectural background, I want it to match. And as long as it's safe, that's usually the starting point of the discussion, is what works with your home and what material, what style, what shape. If I can't match it exactly, maybe we do something similar to it or something like the opposite of what's there. So it looks in place.
All right.
They install railings do have to be installed very soundly, just like a grab bar. So their railings are installed into the structure of the house once again.
All right.
Good questions, by the way. I really appreciate the variety of questions. I can tell people were listening. I didn't know, it's like you get on these Zoom calls and, some of us, just another Zoom call, but no, it's wonderful to have such great attention. Thank you all.
So I know we're kind of running out of time, but I just want to ask something, and this is what actually motivated us to contact you, is that you talked I don't even remember what it was, whether it was a presentation you gave or it was an email, but working with physical therapists to do home assessments. So talk to us about the home assessment and how, if somebody in our community wanted to work with you and have a home assessment done, how might that work?
And I'll do that. And after that, I think Alan's got a question. He had his hand up. But so kind of a combination of questions here. So PTs, physical therapists, and OTs, occupational therapists, as well as home care nurses, home health professionals, social workers, those different professionals will find themselves in a home, usually doing some sort of therapy. But if they're an OT or a PT, they will also get involved in doing some level of assessment themselves. So just if someone has a medical condition and they have a PT out there already, they're going to go through and make some suggestions, which is a great starting place. And they're kind of coming from the medical side and the people side, which is perfect. I come in, I just complement that and do it from the structure, the side from the how we're going to do it and then executing on it. So I will pick up oftentimes where an OT maybe even put up the blue tape on the wall already with a kind of a guideline. Yes, we want a grab bar here as we enter the shower, and we want another one on the back of the shower. So I'll come in, modify that a little bit as I find the studs, work with the customer to see if they're sitting or they're not sitting, they're standing. And that's kind of how we work together with OTs and PTs. Another example was a physical therapist down at Stanford who was working for George Schultz before he passed. And he was trying to get George up and walking. George wanted to walk. He'd been in a wheelchair for like 2 or 3 years. And the PT took on the challenge and called me up, spoke to me, had some discussions. He had done something like this before where he installed balance bars, like from a ballet studio or the Olympics, where they have the parallel bars. So we installed 2 parallel bars on his back patio for him to work with. He would drive in with his wheelchair and then get up on the parallel bars and do, 10 or 15 paces both ways. And he had just an amazing transition of being able to walk at age 90. No, he was 100 at that time. And that was a very worthwhile day.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Alan, you had a question?
Alan.
Real fast one, night lights. Any suggestion as to what the best night lights are? And are any of them sensors? So when somebody gets up to move, the night light would go on or anything like that?
There's a large plethora of them online now, but the one I haven't bought one yet, but I'm a big fan of the company Wyze. It's a new company, WYZE, and I believe they've got when I read the description, it reads really well, like it does everything you want it to do, and it's inexpensive, very affordable. So you might check out that one. There's another company whose name I can't remember right now that also has been in the nightlight business for a long time, and most of them are available with the motion sensors now. So on Amazon, you can always find that. If you can't track down the Wyze one, find one that has a motion sensor. The battery operated ones will last for a long, long time because they're only going on with a little LED now, right? So it doesn't use much power for 30 seconds or, a minute, whatever you set it on. So that's, I'm a proponent of that, as many as you can, put up with.
All right.
I've seen some people put them on every step. So as you go up the steps, it kind of, it's like walking into Disneyland, but whatever's safe is good.
Thank you.
All right. All right. If there's no final questions, I think that we are going to be done. I want to thank everybody and thank you, Bill. We've been actually wanting a presentation like this for quite a while. So thank you for meeting us here on Zoom today. And hopefully we'll be talking to you again.
I have a question. This program was recorded, right?
Would you like me to send you the link?
Oh, sure. But I mean, as far as the other guests here in the presentation, if you have a friend that you think could benefit from these services that know you, I would suggest sending that link to them.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing Susan will probably send out a wrap-up newsletter and include that in her newsletter with a link so that you can just forward it on to your friend.
Right. So it is on
it's
on our website. So that's where the link is, and it's in our YouTube channel. So everybody who knows about Carquinez Village, whenever you go to the website, you can just go and click on. So thank you, everybody. Oh, Alan, one more question.
Basically, we had somebody who was going to join us, a friend of ours, and couldn't. When will it go on the website?